Hey, what's up, everybody? So today we're going to talk about being fab and fit over 40. My guest today is the author Mayumi Muller, and I am Risa Morimoto, your host. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, and you're watching Modern Aging, where we chat about innovative and holistic ways to elevate our health and well-being as we age. If you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to subscribe. All you got to do is click on that little red button below with that little bell next to it to be sure to be notified whenever a new episode is uploaded. If you haven't checked our website, go to thisismodernaging.com. We got brand new stuff going up every single week. So today my guest is life coach Mayumi Muller. She does food mentoring, she does wardrobe mentoring, fitness mentoring, skincare mentoring. She does it all. And she's in her 50s and she looks amazing. And she feels amazing. But this wasn't easy for her. And she had a bunch of stumbles along the way. We're going to talk about all that and more, so check it out. Mayumi, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being with me here today.
Oh, thank you, Risa. Always a pleasure being with you.
No, we have a lot to talk about. We're both 53.
Yes.
We both have kind of gone through we both have Japanese mothers.
Yep.
And, you know, you've gone through quite a bit over the last few years. And so you've wrote this fabulous book that we're going to talk about. But I think your story is such an inspiration for so many women. We're all kind of heading in the same direction. And I feel like it doesn't have to be a downhill direction, right?
Absolutely.
And you really turned everything around. So I wanted you to come on today to kind of share your story and kind of provide some insight to other women who might be going through similar situations. So why don't we start at the beginning a little bit and tell me a little bit about how you kind of came to where you are now.
Okay. So, just like you said, Risa, we have a Japanese background. So I'm half Japanese and half Black. I was born in Japan. Left Japan like first grade because it was a little challenging to have someone look so different be a part of this homogenized society that they were having over there. And my mom felt like I should be raised around Americans. So we moved to the States. Fast forward into...
And your dad had passed away when you were really young.
Yeah, my dad passed away when I was 18 months old in a car accident in Japan. And so I think that maybe had he been alive, we might have tried to stay in Japan. I know he was very fond of Japan and the Japanese people and taught himself how to speak Japanese. But I think my mom just wanted a fresh start and, just kind of like that dream of coming to America. I realized my third year going into college at UW that I'm just not a school person. And so an opportunity came up for me to go model in Europe, in England and in Spain. I think, and I mentioned in my book, the modeling does kind of play on our psyche and our confidence. And so I know that during that modeling process, there was a lot of turmoil for me in regards to like, why am I not good enough? Why didn't I get that job? Why did she get that? And I didn't. And so all of that kind of messed with my psyche. So I decided to take a break and come back to the States and live with my mom and just kind of decompress and reset. And then I went to LA, Chicago to model after that. And then I had I met my husband, ex-husband, in 1992, and I had my first child in 93. And by the time I was 30, I had 3 amazing, wonderful kids. And so that was my job from then on for about 10 years, is to stay at home with my kids and raise them and be an at-home mom, which is my American dream. That's what I always wanted to do, was be an at-home mom.
Toughest job in the world.
It was so tough. It's selfless. It's rewarding, but not monetary. So you don't really know what your worth is as an at-home mom, even though you're such a value to your family and the backbone of your family. And so for years, probably 2 decades, I just was my kids' moms, Selena's mom, Sierra's mom, Spencer's mom. And then when my son turned 5, he was going into kindergarten, I decided to divorce their dad and started the proceedings. And it was a hard decision because I didn't want to break up the family, but it got to the point, and I'll segue into our 40s, but it kind of made me realize that I have to love myself. And I didn't love myself when I was married to that person. So I know it can be hard for women. You think, oh, I'm going to stay with my ex-husband until my kids are out of high school. And that thought definitely crossed my mind. But then I was like, shit, I might kill myself before that even happens. Lots of therapy, lots of self-reflection and self-love again for myself. And I was able to pull up my bootstraps and divorce this person. And it was the best thing that I could have done, not only for me, but for my kids and for him, for him too, because he realized that I actually did a lot, and which made it so that he didn't have to do as much. So when we divorced, he was able to spend more time, quality time with the children. And then you get in your 40s. And you're like, okay,
things start happening.
Kids are gone. You have to re-identify or recreate your identity again because you're not that person's mom or that person's husband or that person's daughter. You're like in your 40s and you've got to figure it out. And I really have been the type of person that I really get upset with society and just now with social media. We didn't have it growing up, but definitely in my 40s and 50s, social media has really reared its sometimes ugly head. And I really didn't like how society portrayed women over 40. Kind of like, you 40-year-old old lady, get out of here. You're not good enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not cute enough. You're successful, but you're not 25.
Right.
And so when I turned 40, this like epiphany came over me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reinvent myself as this strong, amazing woman that is just identifiable by myself, like my being, and being proud of being 40. Right. Because people would say, you don't look 40. Why don't you just tell people you're 30? I'm like, because I'm not.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to be 30 again.
Right.
So just reinventing myself in my 40s and just realizing that women in our 40s are amazing, and we just like love each other. It's like this girl tribe that we have, the camaraderie and the connectiveness that we have with our girls. So just kind of encompassing, and that's how I wrote the book, is I wanted to write a book about being in our 40s and embracing it, not be embarrassed about it. Like embrace it and embrace every aspect of it, and then pick the ones or the things that best fit you as an individual, because one size doesn't fit all, right? Just doesn't.
Right. And we got to just stay in our, not listen to all the noise that's all over the place, right? I mean, it's hard. It's definitely hard.
It's hard.
But then you kind of had some setbacks later in your 40s.
I did. So I was 43. So I'd been divorced from my kid's dad. Now I had teenagers. I had a very successful career. I had a couple of businesses, solopreneur type businesses. And I worked for a large corporation as an outside sales rep, the only female top salesperson in the country. And then I met my amazing husband at 43 at a trade show. And so I just was living my best life. I had a great husband. My kids were great. I was eating everything I wanted. We had successful companies. My husband and I own 10 businesses currently right now and own 4 commercial properties. So we're pretty active and busy. We built this empire. And then at 48, we were at a trade show in Tacoma. I remember because it's my favorite Thai restaurant, something that I look forward to every year when we do this trade show. We stay overnight there. We do the trade show. We eat at this Thai restaurant. And I ate the same exact thing that I had eaten for the last probably 4 years before that, 3 years before that. And I remember eating, and after we were done, I was like, babe, I don't feel good. And he's like, oh, you're fine. You just ate too much. I'm like, no, I eat this. It's like an ahi salad, I had some coconut ice cream and one drink. It was like the Flying Buddha drink. So we get ready, we're going out, and I could barely made it out the front door of the restaurant, and everything came up. That's where it started. I'm like, wow, I definitely don't chew my food because it's pretty chunky. I might need to focus on chewing on my food a little bit longer. So fast forward, 48, I started throwing up after every meal. 49, throwing up still after every meal, but somebody told me about Zantac, which is now removed off the shelves because it causes cancer. So I took a Zantac pretty much every time I felt like crap, but I still threw up. And then I knew that my 50th birthday was coming up, and I really, really, really wanted to look good for my 50th birthday. Now, mind you, I'm eating from 48 until 50 foods that my body was rejecting. So at 50 years old, I was 158 pounds.
Wow.
Right now,
that's a lot for you.
That's a lot for me. I'm 127 right now, 158. And I decided to do this keto diet because everybody was on the keto bandwagon. And again, one size does not fit all. And I gained more weight, and I was throwing up after every meal.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I need to do something. So I did at 50, my colonoscopy, my endoscopy, and this Chinese doctor, he was great. I said, well, why do I throw up after every meal? What do I do? He goes, don't eat those foods. I was like, okay, good thing I had a Japanese mother because I totally get your humor and I completely understand what you're saying. And so I was a dum-dum, and I went until 50 and a half. And finally, my girlfriend's like, you know what, Mayumi, I think you're in perimenopause. I started gaining weight when I was in perimenopause. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. She's like, why don't you go see my naturopath and see what she can do to help you? I did. I went to the naturopath. I got the food panel. I got the hormone panel, got everything done. I found out that my testosterone was a little bit lower. So I was on some testosterone cream. And then she says, okay, and the food panel, you can't eat 25 or 30 of these foods. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, I eat a dozen to a dozen and a half of eggs a week. So it was chicken eggs, chicken, nightshades, eggplant, potatoes, green beans, tree nuts, which I was already allergic to. And I cannot do chicken eggs, and I can't do alcohol. So basically I'm celiac. So the wheat gluten I cannot eat. So I have all the celiac symptoms. And then the other foods are just foods that my body doesn't want. I'm like, oh, you're crazy. Her name is Dr. Jill Monster. I'm like, Dr. Monster, you're a monster. You're crazy. I'm not going to do it. So I left. And I didn't go back until almost 51. And I was at the point where do you remember Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so Violet. Do you remember Violet? When she eats the gum and it's like a 5-course meal and she got all bloated? That's how my face and body was. I was like, oh my God, I'm becoming Violet. So I went back to her and we did it and changed my life. And I just realized that, food can kill you or heal you. It really can. And by denying and not listening to my body for all those years, I was actually damaging and poisoning my body. Because what happened is all the years of eating McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and I love fast food and just eating all the wheat gluten. And I don't want to get on the gluten conspiracy, but their gluten is, the genetically modified gluten is really, really harmful to our bodies and to our gut. And you can clearly see with all of the gluten-free products that are coming out and the alternative to gluten, which will be like almond flour, cashew flour, how you feel so much better when you eat those gluten-free, non-genetically modified wheat or ancient grains, how your body feels so much better. And so I just decided to do a lifestyle and mindset shift.
So how long did it take you to feel the difference?
My naturopath will put you on a 7-week elimination protocol. And so what that is you would eliminate all of the food items that came up that you were intolerant to for 7 weeks. And then you go back and visit your doctor. And then once a week, you add one of the items that you were intolerant to, and you monitor your body for 72 hours. And then you can see if you can reintroduce those items. Because sometimes women and men, when we're intolerant, we've just damaged the lining of our gut and it just needs a little repair. What I found out too with myself and my husband, he went too, is that we had a mild case of candida. And candida is an overgrowth of yeast in your gut. And I loved kombucha. And I didn't know that my gut was having a kombucha party, and the candida was growing and expanding. And so I had to eliminate all fermented foods for 7 weeks. So unfortunately for me, I'm in the less than 2% that once you've done the elimination, I've not been able to reintroduce any of those items. I'm definitely still intolerant to all of them. But
How many items is that?
A lot. There's probably, so for sure the gluten, about 22, 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you been able to, I mean, I don't want to say easily make adjustments into your eating lifestyle, but I mean, I think the main issue for so many people is, right, when they can't eat what they want to eat anymore, they just feel so frustrated, and then they feel like, oh, I can't eat anything,
Yes.
And I think that's, yeah, you're right. I mean, it has to be a complete mindset
It
shift.
is. It's a mindset shift, and it's hard as F. I'm not going to lie, you guys. It is hard, especially like since I was a foodie. But you know what? It's harder to feel and look miserable. It's harder to get out of bed when I've got an appointment because I'm so bloated and fatigued from poisoning my body the night before because I decided I needed to have that hard-boiled egg, right? It's not worth it. And so, yes, it is hard. I'm so fortunate that I have amazing children and a wonderful husband. What I recommend sometimes in my group, especially with women, is to find a power partner that is going to be able to help you and you'll be able to help them through the process. We're always dieting. Women are always doing some kind of something, right? It's not going to be hard for you to find a power partner where you can actually, or an accountability partner to kind of bounce things off of. Like, hey, I'm in the Dairy Queen drive-thru right now because I've had a bad day, because a lot of us eat because of triggers, whether it's stress, emotions, what have you. I need you to tell me to get out of this line, right? And the only reason why I make that is because I've done it. I've been in the Dairy Queen line trying to order my peanut butter parfait.
Oh, yum.
Which is my fave. And I have to call, I take a phone call, and I think I called my husband or my daughter. I'm like, okay, like I'm about to go through this drive through. They're like, drive through it. They won't care. You don't even need to say nothing. Just don't order, just drive through. And I did. And you know what? I don't have that ego that I don't feel like I need my friends and my family, because I need them. I needed them through this process. Mm-hmm. Now I feel great. I feel absolutely wonderful. And Risa, we were talking about this before. You know, this has given me an opportunity not only to write a book, but also to create foods that I loved eating as a child or a young adult, and creating them the way that I can actually eat them now. And it's
which
so
is
much
great,
fun.
because you have tons of recipes in this.
I do. I have about 32 recipes in there. And they're dairy-free, gluten-free, egg-free, chicken egg-free, and nut-free. And awesome. So those are, you know, I would say that most people are intolerant to one of the 8 top allergens. And that's why our society, again, is going to, I should say, eliminating those food items or those ingredients into specific foods, and giving us humans an option, Americans, especially in our country, to not eat shit foods, you know, because the processed foods are going to kill us. They're killing us already.
So how did you balance the food with like the exercise and all that? Because you were also working out, right? In order to lose the weight.
But you know what? So prior to getting sick, I thought, I just need to get in the gym. So I worked out 3 days a week. I still ate what I ate before. This was before I was still in denial. And I did not lose a freaking pound. 3 days a week. I bust my ass doing cardio, running, elliptical, the Bosie ball, like everything. And I'm like, what? And my trainer's like, Mayumi, 80% is food. He goes, you don't even need to come in here until you get your food stuff right, because you will never lose weight if you don't get your 80% food right. So I do work out, but the only thing I do right now, because I'm so busy, but I jump rope.
Oh, wow.
I do the band workouts occasionally, which I put in my book, but I do 400 jump ropes 3 days a week, sometimes 4, and I eat 80% right for my body. And so where people think, you know, this is the reason why I think it's hard. I already said it's going to be hard. So it's the cop-out way. People think I can still drink my bottle of wine every night and have my cheese and crackers because I'm working out 4 days a week. No, doesn't work that way. It's opposite. I'd much rather see people eat properly 80% and just get a walk-in or a jog or walk your dog or what have you, jump on a trampoline, because it's really about the food. The exercise is just going to help us tone and get our heart rate up, but it really is 80% is food. I know people think I'm like a workout girl. I'm like, no, it's food.
Right. No, that's a huge battle for so many women and people in general.
It is.
So you had mentioned actually that there is a way to do a home test to discover what your food intolerances are.
Absolutely.
And that you've done it yourself.
Yeah, I've done it. So I have a Facebook group with just women over 40, and I have some younger gals too, because they're my daughter's friends, and they want the preventative, because they know that the lifestyle that they're living right now is not very conducive to them looking good and feeling good when they're our age, right? They're just abusing their body. And so I realize that a lot of insurances do not cover naturopaths. And so where I paid $1,000 for my food panel and my hormone panel test with my naturopath, I had seen this thing pop up over the last couple of years on Insta and in various, forms. And I'm like, wow, what is this? And so I finally decided to do it last year. It's called Everlywell. and you can get it on Amazon. And so I
I'll
decided to
put
do
the
it.
link down below.
Perfect, Everlywell. And what I did was I ordered the kit from Amazon, and you get the kit, and it has like, if you have diabetes, you know, when you have to check your insulin, they give you this little thing that like pricks your finger. It's like a little boop, but like a little button. So you prick your finger. There's 4 or 5 different circles that you drop a drop of blood on, and then you put it into a plastic like hazardous waste bag so that, you know, it doesn't contaminate, and there's no other contaminants that come into your specimen, you know, for them prior to them getting it. And then within 2 weeks, you'll get the test results back. And wow, like I was telling you earlier, I was pleasantly surprised for $200, and it pops up about 204 or 209 different types of foods. Most of the foods came up the same as my naturopath.
Wow.
So, and the reason why I say most of the foods is because the gluten did not come up, the wheat gluten, because I don't eat it anymore. And I hadn't eaten it for a year. And so tree nuts didn't come up because I'm allergic to tree nuts and it wasn't in my body. So there are things, when you don't ingest certain food items, those food items will not pop up, but everything else came up. Chicken, eggplant. I love eggplant. Always have, white rosette potatoes, green beans, tomatoes. What else? Chicken eggs, where I eat duck eggs. So if any of you listeners and watchers decide to get my book, I basically substitute everything for flaxseed, or I'll use duck eggs if you can find the duck eggs in your area. And it works. They taste really, really good. Ducks have a different type of enzyme that helps our bodies process the eggs better. Humans are, you know, to consume it easier. It's funny because I was talking to my naturopath and I was like, well, you know, I don't get an immediate reaction from chicken eggs. You know, I like all the other foods. And she goes, well, it takes sometimes up to 72 hours for the chicken eggs. So by the time you've eaten an egg salad or whatever on a sandwich with gluten and maybe some, you know, of the things you're intolerant to, you don't really know what that specific item is because some of the other foods like egg doesn't come up in irritating your body for 72 hours. And so that's why the elimination diet is so wonderful, because you don't reintroduce after 7 weeks, and only every 72 hours, you're going to kind of check out your results and see what happens. But Everlywell, I refer it to everyone. It's a quick go-to. And what women have been doing is they've been getting the kit, doing the elimination protocol, which is what they'll send you. They'll send you your results. Then you go onto their app or their website. You log in with all of your information, and they put you on a elimination protocol diet. And it's great. And then you can save your money in that 6 to 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and know that if you want a little bit more data or more accurate information or just more information, then you can hire a naturopath and take it that next step further.
That's great. Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
No, that's amazing. Mayumi, this has been so great. Any kind of final tips or insights that you'd love to give women who are over 40 who are, you know, facing these kinds of struggles, who kind of, you know,
absolutely.
You know
what?
Do something.
So my book title is Fcking, Fab, and Fit After 40, Mayumi's Secret. So I have a couple things.
I'm going to put the link to this. I'm going to put the link to this down below as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I would say, you know, a couple things that I always tell people is just be fucking fab, right? Your fab is different than this person's fab or the other. It's it's your space to be fab at any age. I love that. The other thing is I would say is to listen to your body. You guys, we're not getting any younger. Our bodies are falling apart. But if we continue to not listen, then we will shorten our life expectancy. If you listen to your body, I have more energy at 53 than I had in my 40s being sick with all the food issues that I had. 53, you guys, I'm going to be 54 and I have way more energy. I sleep 8 hours a week. My perimenopause is in check.
8 hours a night.
Yep. Oh, 8 hours a night. I sleep 8 hours a night. No problemo. Since I started eating right, my perimenopause has been on point. No hot flashes, no night sweats anymore. And so I would say the key is to listen to your bodies, and it's not going to be easy, but you got to do it for you. Yeah. This is our time to do stuff for us, not for everyone else.
So Mayumi, if people want to reach out and to say hello, or they want to be a part of your Facebook group, where do they go?
So I am pretty social on social media. And I'm women over 50 and, really over 40, but actually over 50 friendly. I have a private women's Facebook group called Mayumi's Secret, Fucking Fab and Fit After 40. And you would just go onto your Facebook, go into search Mayumi's Secret, Fucking Fab and Fit After 40, and then join my group. I have to approve it because I don't want no boys in my group. So, it's all girls, and we talk about everything from food, children, dogs, pets, menopause, everything that you've thought about, I actually bring about into the group. I also have a Instagram page, and it's just Mayumi Muller. And I also have a website, which is mayumimuller.com. And my website, I sell swag. I have recipes. I have Mayumi's faves. And I also have 4 programs for women if they are wanting to hire me to help them with any need, whether it's wardrobe, health and beauty, food. I became a holistic nutrition licensed certification last year for holistic weight loss. And so basically just helping women change their mindset and adjust their eating so that they can look and feel better. So there's lots of ways to get to me. I'm very tangible. You can DM me, PM me, email me, and I'm here for you guys.